YouTube, welcome to my YouTube channel and at Bella, and today I am going to be reviewing the new Amazon Prime sword and sandals drama that's set in ancient Rome with the Flavian dynasty of 3 emperors, those about to die. It is a 10 episode series. Season 1 is just full of 10 episodes. They're all about 40 to 50 minutes long. They've come up with mixed reviews. They are 95% accurate historically, very much like the Tudors with Jonathan Rhys-Meyers as Henry VIII. You have got Anthony Hopkins as the Emperor Vespasian. Emperor Vespasian won the year of the 4 emperors when, after the death of the Emperor Nero, this is after, basically, if you watch Rome, if you watch the HBO series Rome, first 2 seasons, you've got the divine Julius Caesar, and then you've got the rise of Octavian Augustus, who also becomes the divine Augustus, and then the death of Mark Antony and Cleopatra, end of season 2. Then if you watch I Claudius, you've got Augustus, Tiberius, Caligula, we'll say no more about, and Claudius, who also becomes a god and conquered Britain, because Julius Caesar came, he saw, and then he ran back to Rome to get assassinated. Bless him. He didn't finish conquering it. So the divine Julius Caesar was here, and then the divine Claudius conquered Britain. And then after Claudius, we get Nero. We know what happens with him. Then there are 4 generals that all spend a year warring to be the Roman emperor, and the winner is the Emperor Vespasian. He's got 2 sons. His eldest son is Titus, who is also a general, and his younger son, Daminiton, which his wife was called Daminiton, is basically the male form of that. Yay. And Vespasian dies, and then his son Titus rules. Spoiler alert, for only 2 years. Then his younger brother becomes emperor and rules for a little bit longer, and then also, yeah, there's a lot in it. But what is really good about Those About to Die is you've got threefold perspective, whereas I Claudius, you only had the perspective of the Julio-Claudian dynasty, because at that point there were so many of them before they started like poisoning each other with food party accidents, or accidents at sea, or general accidents, or locking people on islands, never letting them leave and then murdering them. Yeah, so there was lots of members of the royal family that could have being the emperor. I mean, at one point Gemellus, I mean, had he not had that cough, Caligula wouldn't have, but he probably would have him anyway, because Caligula, you know. So back to this, we've got the perspective of the family, the imperial family, so the dad and the 2 sons in the imperial court. Then you've got the perspective of what I call the plebeians. Now this is really important. The plebeian class were the people of Rome. These weren't slaves, they were free Roman citizens. These were your watchmaker, your candlestick maker, your grocer. These were the people that ran that city. If I, an upper class person, that's the other group that are involved in this, I say I'm a senator and I want to buy some gooseberries, I'm going to have to buy off a Roman trader that is based in the city. This Roman trader is a Roman citizen. This Roman citizen can vote. So the Circus Maximus, which is a chariot racing thing, cough cough Ben-Hur, check that movie out, it's awesome. They race the chariots and everybody bets on them, including the imperial family, including the senators, including there's the higher class Romans, and then there's the plebs. The plebs are free citizens, yeah? They are not slaves. Do not get the 2 muddled up. I know sometimes you've got the imperial family, then you've got the senators, then you've got the plebs, which are just shat on. Do not make that mistake, because plebeian people can own slaves, and that's really important to get in your head. The plebs are important Roman citizens. They vote. If they riot, they can close the city, as Those About to Die illustrates quite nicely. And I fully get why people have complained about the 3 Spaniard brothers, because in Rome, Spain wasn't Spain, it was Hispanic. It was Hispania. That's what they conquered. Spain wasn't a thing, that's what they called it. So I understand why they modernised it and called it Spain, because then people would know kind of where it is. Because if you say Hispania, like, what are you talking about? Just as if you say Britannia, which stands for Britain, because that's what they called Britain. They're like, oh, Britannicus, we're going to call it Britain. Yeah, everything has kind of got a different name in Rome, in ancient Rome, because obviously, you know, Gaul is France, just saying, and Germany, yeah, because they aren't countries yet. And please be aware that in this series, Jesus has died, been crucified and everything, because Jesus, just so you get your bearings, Tiberius and Augustus is at the Nativity, the end of Augustus, yeah, with that lovely tax, whoopie-doo for the census to be taxed. And then when Jesus is an adult, 30-year-old, it's Tiberius. Just filling you in. So Jesus is not going to show up in this series at all. He's already been crucified. We've done that. The conquering of Judea is when the temple gets basically flattened and pulled down. So you've just got that Wailing Wall that's left. That happens with the Emperor Titus, or the general that will become the Emperor Titus. It's very confusing. So that's just some backstory for you. Yes, I rather enjoyed this. So you've got the imperial family, you've got the upper class people, you've got your plebeians, your grocers, your doctors, your betting houses, your brothels. They're all run by free Roman citizens. Now, Roman citizens have a lot of rights if you're a Roman citizen. If you're a soldier and a Roman citizen, you have even more rights. A person from a conquered nation can become a Roman citizen if they're a free person, very, very easily. If you're a slave, you can buy your freedom and then you can apply to be a Roman citizen. That has been done. Quite a lot of the slaves of upper class people, like Cicero's main housekeeping slaves, they were eventually, he left a lot of property to them when he got and they were able to run his estates and look after all of his people, because remember that these people had vineyards and plantations and other things outside of the city. So you got your townhouse, London townhouse, and your country pile. They were doing that in ancient Rome. We just don't see it a lot in this. We also get the eruption of Mount Vesuvius because Pompeii gets flattened, and that happens under Emperor Titus. So Anthony Hopkins plays Vespasian. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Loved it. But it was so quick. The season is only 10 episodes long. Vespasian only lasts 3 episodes. Spoiler warning, putting that out there. Then we have the wonderful Tom playing the Emperor Titus. And unfortunately, Titus only lives 2 years. So, yeah, you're not going to see a lot of him. And then obviously you've got his brother. Now, his brother, it's interesting. We have on historical record that he was good with the bow and arrow, and we see that in the series. He was also known to collect bugs. And you do see that in the series, so hats off for accuracy there. Titus was also known to be a bit of a sort of blank slate. If it wasn't anything army related, he really struggled politically. His brother was younger and had been trained in rhetoric, as you had those 2 wonderful scenes. You had the wonderful scene of the Emperor Vespasian looking at his son and saying, no, 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 don't look like that. Don't show your fear. Hold it back. As if he was training this son to be the emperor. And then he also has another scene with his other son Titus where you see him train him to be emperor. So in Vespasian's mind, he chooses his eldest son because no Roman emperor had successfully passed the emperorship on to his biological child. They'd either been usurpers or been adopted sons. So he wanted to do that. And also I think Titus's achievements in Judea merited that he get it, but politically he really struggled. That, and he was having an affair with the Queen of the Jews, and he wouldn't put her away. If he'd have put her away sooner and married a Roman, I think that he would have lasted the course, and he would probably have managed to eventually outwile his brother, because you saw the potential in him before he, spoiler warning, he does not last the season. He only lives 2 years, so the third emperor, the second brother, is going to be the main emperor carrying us through. He was known for 2 things: 1, being totally ruthless, and 3, being really good at administrating. So he is literally Jane Dolores Umbridge in male emperor form, and a bit sadistic. They've made him quite sadistic. In fact, he's very similar, I think, to Caligula in some ways, but he's not gone like totally off the trolley. But I think that there are debates whether Caligula was actually mad, or whether he was actually seeing what he could get away with as a way of controlling the Senate, particularly when he made his horse a senator. I think he was making a political point there, as well as being totally cuckoo. So that's the imperial family. You then have the consul, whose eldest daughter is a Vestal Virgin, and son we don't actually see in this at all. And how very sticky it is to be almost emperor but not yet quite emperor. And then you have the plebeian level, where we've got the king of the underworld or the underbelly, but actually his job is really important. He runs the betting houses for the Circus Maximus. I'm loving the fact that we actually see the Circus Maximus running. It's brilliant. We have the wonderful Scorpus. I felt that, oh, you're going to kill him too soon, and then he did die too soon, and then it was fake, and then I was like, oh, this is terrible. And then obviously, spoiler warning, poor Scorpius, you will definitely be missed. It's such a shame. This is the problem. The first season sets everything up so nicely, but you don't have enough time to sort of enjoy these characters, because the second season is going to be the second emperor, and everything will change. So you'll just get settled and then everything moves. And that felt very much like this season. Then there were the Numidians. Now, there were black people in ancient Rome. In fact, ancient Romans brought black slaves to Britain. In fact, there were black soldiers as well that were legionaries of Rome. So when Rome and Britain happened, when they invaded, they brought slaves of all different skin types here. They also brought soldiers of all different skin types here, because by that point Britain was like the furthest outpost in the empire when they conquered it. So they brought a hell of a lot of things to Britain, like straight roads and underfloor heating and spas and baths, you know, all good things. Not everything about the Roman Empire is bad. The Circus Maximus was controlled by 4, and in this show 5 factions, that basically the upper class controlling it. With the Colosseum, which the Vespasian family wanted to be a house for the people, where the Roman citizens who paid taxes could go enjoy a nice show, because remember, they'd also see theatre there as well, then gladiatorial bouts, then animals killing each other and all sorts. It wasn't just, you know, gladiatorial bouts. There were other things that were happening there, poetry readings, all sorts. It was basically a big arena. They could put anything on that they wanted to show the people, and they often did. And it had a running order of what it was. So if you arrived early in the morning, you'd see this. If you arrived in the afternoon, you'd see gladiators fighting each other. If you arrived sort of midday, you'd see the animals doing their thing. So it enabled the population, the plebeian population, to see and experience some of the cultures that Rome had conquered. Because yes, they were experiencing the food, because one of the reasons they took Judea was they wanted the Silk Road for the trade. That's really important. I know I'm going into too much detail, but I don't care. That's why they took it, because they wanted that trading route. Yes, which enabled everybody to sort of in Rome eat all these different new foods, which was great. But the Colosseum actually showed the Roman citizens that lived in Rome the cultures that they'd conquered. So they were able to see Egyptians being slaughtered, this, that or the other. So it was a way of being able to stage your propaganda, which is why in the series, see, I am bringing it back, we had the that mock-up of the temple, of the Jewish temple being destroyed, because the Roman citizens hadn't seen Titus do it, because they weren't there. There was no social media. He couldn't just snap a pic of the burning temple, and he couldn't just snap a pic of the queen, you know, kowtowing to him and becoming, you know, his concubine. He couldn't do that. He didn't have that technology. So the Colosseum allowed the imperial family to put these things on for people to see, because the divine emperor Augustus foresaw that at some point the Roman Empire is not going to be able to expand any further. In fact, the expansion into Judea was like the last leg of the empire being complete fully. Even though Tiberius, they were there and Jesus was crucified by Rome, they weren't fully crushed until the Emperor Titus, or the General Titus at this point, came in and did that and brought them back. And guess what? They were made to build things like they were in the Egyptians. So they built the Circus Maximus and they built the Colosseum. Or was it just the Colosseum? Probably just the Colosseum. Anyway, moving swiftly on. You also got the Numidians. Now, Numidia is in Africa. They basically capture these 3 siblings, 2 daughters, basically kill a Roman soldier because he was going to rape them, and they end up becoming the property of Rome, because that could happen to anybody. And you'd be taken back to Rome and then used as a slave. And then they, her brother, who's on a hunt for this white lion, oh, what a waste of a lion, gets captured as well and ends up coming. And then the mother wants to go and buy back. She managed to buy back one of her daughters, because her daughter was bought by a plebeian, not a patrician. Oh, I remember the word. Woo! Success for me. So overall, I'm giving it 4.5 out of 5. I felt that they perhaps, see, this is the thing, you killed 2 of your 3 emperors off in one season, and I fully get, because you want to, you know, have Dad for 3 episodes, he's drop dead because he's old, then you want to have this battle of the brothers. But what would have been nice, see, the thing is they couldn't end it on the cliffhanger of them going to see this navigator. They couldn't have done that, they really couldn't, because you'd then have to have like at least 2 episodes with the Emperor Titus in season 2, and perhaps you just want to get on with the Colosseum and building that, because the Circus Maximus is on the down now. We've done the Circus Maximus. The Circus Maximus never will hit the heights that it has in season 1. The Colosseum is going to steal its thunder. I'm loving the fact that we also get to see the regular people that just sit in the Colosseum. We got to see the gladiators. We got to build relationships with these people. And I know some people have complained, oh, we're seeing ancient Rome through a modern lens. And I'm like, of course we're going to see ancient Rome through a modern lens. We didn't live there. We weren't there. We've got the historical records. We've got, you know, a load of bricks that tell us, oh, they have these buildings. We've got historical records that tell us how they were used. But remember, they're biased. So we're going to see Rome through a modern lens. There's no way of not seeing Rome through a modern lens. And in fact, that modern lens might actually be not too far from ancient Rome itself. Because one of the reasons we've got these cosmopolitan cities is because Alexander the Great said, right, I want these cities, they're all going to be called Alexandria, they're all going to have lovely libraries, they're all going to have a lovely market, we're going to trade in them, and people will come, and they'll mix cultures, and it'll be great. That was always on the cards. Just ancient Rome had it like really good at record keeping and stratifying everybody. Yeah? That's the way it is. So there is no, I'm not even going to say that word that people are saying, it's stupid. 4 out of 5. It's an excellent series. Is it equal to Rome, HB's Rome? No, it's not. Is it equal to I, Claudius? Absolutely not. CGI, a little bit weak in places. That white lion, I felt, could have lasted 2 seasons, to be fair. I loved the intro and the theme. That was good. Anthony Hopkins gave it a cracking start. We had a great Emperor Titus. Thank you, Tom. We will see where we go in season 2. It's early days. It only just came out last week. I binge watched it. In fact, I got to the 3rd episode and was like, oh no, the old one's going to die. I knew he was going to die, but this is actually devastating for long term of the series. I thought I'd at least get 4 episodes out of him, or maybe 5. Because if you'd got 5 out of him, then we would have had, you know, Emperor Titus next season for like half of it. It's balancing it out, but maybe this is the best way, because you've got Taxus, Tenux, who's really a great character. He's made up, he's not real, I don't think, but he gives a great insight of how a plebeian could come up. And that's the heart of the problem that Rome's got, because they've killed off quite a lot of their aristocracy. So the Brutuses, the Julius Caesars, the Servilias, the Attias, the Mark Antonys, the Claudiuses, the Drususes, whole of that, the Germanicuses, they've all gone because either they were killed in battle or killed by their own family. So ruling Rome has only got themselves to blame, just like they never should have assassinated Julius Caesar, to be fair, because he wasn't an emperor, he was a dictator for life. He was going to become an emperor that day in the Senate, hence that 27 times. It's their own fault, they brought this on themselves. I have no sympathy for them. It does mean now that the only way that the emperors have got control is by the Circus Maximus and the Colosseum over the general population, because they can't expand militarily. In fact, the second son tries and doesn't win very many victories and gets himself stuck. So that's going to be interesting because he doesn't have the experience of his brother. And I think that their father, Vespasian, knew that both brothers would eventually be emperor. Because if you look, his oldest son didn't have any sons to pass it on. And if he did, they would be too young. So they'd get... Yeah, it happens a lot. Anyway, 4 out of 5 from me for the whole series. CGI a bit ropey, the White Lion was wasted, and I felt that some of the characters could have transferred over, at least into maybe the first 3 episodes of season 2. But maybe that's the right thing to do. We've done their story is done. I felt that they killed off out of the 3 Spaniards, 2 of them died really quickly. But then again, that did happen. But you've also got to understand that... a lot of people have complained about how the gladiators were portrayed, that they wouldn't be wasted, and I know they wouldn't have been wasted, but the Colosseum isn't up and running yet. It's only like day 1. We only got into the Colosseum towards the end because we were still doing the bouts in the Circus Maximus because it wasn't ready yet. And when it was ready, it was brilliant. They flooded it and everything. It was brilliant. It's really good to see the Colosseum alive as it would have been used by them. What was annoying was everything was white. That's not how it would have been. It would have been painted garishly. Check out HBO's Rome for that. 4 out of 5. Please like, comment and subscribe. And I've talked way enough about ancient Rome at you. Do check it out. I do recommend the watch order of HBO's Rome, which is 2 seasons, I, Claudius, which is legendary, and then this, and you'll follow the progression of the emperors quite well with that. So this is the end of my review. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. Please like, comment and subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell for my next video. Thank you so much. Bye.